Hi, this is Lee Langdon. Today on the podcast, I visit with Will Arbuckle. Will is a longtime member of Memorial Road. He actually grew up here. His family attends here. We had a super conversation. He tells his story. We talked about things he's passionate about. We just had a really great time hanging out, and I'm so glad you're here to listen to the conversation. And guys, I don't say this enough, but thank you so much for continuing to tune in and listen to each other's stories. It's so wonderful to get to know our young adults here at Memorial Road. Okay, guys, let's jump in. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 10. Welcome to the Young Adult World Podcast. Will Arbuckle, welcome to the Young Adult World Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad you're here today. You just came back from something that you do on a regular basis. What did you just do this morning?
Well, I went down to a small congregation in southwestern Oklahoma called in the small town of Alec. And I've been going down for 5 years now, going down roughly every second or third and fourth Sunday of the month. And I help with leading the worship.
What you love to do, right? And who is the one that actually got you started in this?
Scott Young. He really helped me get started with that. One of the major things was back in college during one of my Bible classes that I had there. They had us sit down with somebody who we considered a mentor for our time in church. And I chose Scott because I've always had a passion for singing. I started, singing here in church, listening and just learning the songs just by listening. And then after that, I went through choir through every year of school, pretty much up through college. And so just singing and praising God has been something that I've loved all my life. And so Scott got me into that. And then from there, occasionally helped out like in middle school and high school with Wednesday night or on Sunday morning for my Bible class, leading singing there. There was a pretty big gap when I was in college because, there was so many people who were also, doing that kind of same thing. So, but that was all right. But then after college and then after I came back home, I just, I wanted to was kind of lost for a little bit and just like struggling with my current employment is like for how I was there. It was keeping me away from church on Wednesday nights a couple of times. And it was just really hard. I was attending a little song fest put on by the group Acapella, specifically Keith Lancaster is one of they go to these song fests. They go to a church and just teach, a bunch of different songs, sometimes new songs, sometimes remade old songs and that kind of thing. And it was just a fun time to just kind of get away from work and the stresses of that. And there they showed a video for the Worship Leaders Institute or WLI. So I attended the Worship Leaders Institute that year. It was great. I loved it. Just so much of learning more of the technical stuff, the musical stuff, and just inspiring me to do more with it, and just perfecting it is a craft, which was awesome. So
let's go back to your childhood a bit. I know your sister actually goes to church here with us. She's been on the podcast.
Yep.
So were you born here?
Yes. We were all born here in Edmond Oklahoma City, that kind of thing. I remember from listening to the podcast with my sisters, like, oh, what hospital? I was like, I don't know either. So don't ask me that question. But yeah, we've lived here in Oklahoma pretty much all our lives. The only exception to that is when we go visit family in other states and stuff like that, which has been always a good time, usually around like Thanksgiving, Christmas, summer vacation when in school. But yeah, I've been here all my life. Kind of very similar school situation to how me and my sister, Orvis Reisner to Cimarron to Edmond Memorial to OC. And then from there, yeah.
And you have a brother too.
Justin, me, the eldest, Justin, the second, and then Gemma, the little baby.
What were you like as a kid? What were you involved in? What did you love?
Man, I liked a lot of things, I think. Like one of the things is like I did, you do your, young kids sports, you got your t-ball, your soccer teams that you were a part of and all that kind of stuff, just doing things, which was, I don't remember too much about those. It's been a long time. Again, as I said, I went through choir and like singing all those times.
What part did you sing?
Before my voice changed, it was, like when every one of us sings soprano, essentially, because we're all, it's like, we're all up here, we're all singing, we're little kids. But then once that, change happened, I found myself into tenor/tenor one, which was really great. I was really into high school where I find my most fun memories of choir because we were in the men's choir. They split them up, women's and men's choir. And that was just fun because there was a bunch of good guys and we just kind of had some fun with it while just doing the best we can. So that was pretty cool.
And your high school is really known for their music program. Edmond Memorial has great, like they've got Broadway shows over there. Like
they did a pretty good job. Yeah. I actually participated in a couple of our plays and musicals there as well. Actually, my first one I did, we did Peter Pan as a play.
Fun.
And I got Captain Hook, which was pretty fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, you were Captain Hook?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Are there pictures?
Yeah, there are pictures. My mom has them at our home.
So. Oh, this is fantastic. Yeah. I want to have a picture. We need to share this with people. There's got to be a video somewhere online too.
Actually, do you know Dustin Boatwright? He was currently, he also went to high school with me and he was in there too. He was Smee.
Oh, you guys were Smee and Hook? Yep. No way.
Yep.
That's incredible. Yep. I love that.
It was pretty fun.
How fun.
Yeah.
About to graduate and I don't know, you had to make a decision to go, I guess, do the next thing. What was the next thing after graduation?
After graduation, it was just straight to college. At that time, my dad was working at OC. So again, got a pretty hefty discount on tuition, which was great.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. It's like, hey, in college, sometimes you got to go to where your cheapest option is. Sometimes it just really depends on what you want to do or your situation. So
fortunately for you, OC is a great school.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a great time. I joined, after freshman year, I joined with Alpha Gamma Omega, that club. It was actually my dad's alma mater club, which was awesome. Great group of guys there. Loved doing all of our spring sings and events with them. It was a pretty fun time.
Yeah. What did you study in college?
Fun story that is. I went in thinking in my brain, oh, I need to get a degree where I know I can probably get a job in it to justify going to college. So I went into computer programming. Bad idea. I had no experience with computer programming before that and was told, oh, you don't need to have any experience with it. You can learn. It'll be fine. That was a lie because I did not know anything and was struggling that entire first semester. So after that was done, I was like, nah, I can't do this. I know I can't do this. It's not a wise decision. Let's get out of here. Then I went into something that I was a little bit more passionate about. I went into English writing. I like the idea because one of my things that I've always thought about doing is writing a book or telling a story in a sense. I love that idea. I love reading. That's, as I said, earlier I said I was listening to stuff like audiobooks. I love stories. I love listening to stories, absorbing it because it's just fun. And I love how powerful stories can be, whether that be in the written form on a TV or movie or anything like that. Just stories are I love stories. So that was my goal. I was like, oh, I'm going to go here and maybe this will help me to maybe one day write something of my own. I later got out of that degree because I do not like literary criticism.
Do you still like to write though?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've come up with ideas of like stories to write. I've even one of the things that I've used as a kind of a medium for that is I really love D&D. Dungeons and Dragons. I love that TTRPG or tabletop RPG stuff. And I've I play a couple of games, and I was actually running a game for a friend of mine for a while, and doing that as a means to kind of help write a story, craft a narrative in the sense that way, which has been really fun. And maybe I'll pick it up again to just actually sit down and write. But let me tell you, personal flaw of mine, I am lazy. A lot of things. So that's one of the things there. But, it's just, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll have the inspiration to get around to doing something like that again. But yeah, it's just kind of fun that way.
Well, I would encourage you to get back to it and write something. I mean, it is fascinating because when you create something, you put it in the world, it's pretty vulnerable, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it is. So I want to encourage you, because if this is something that God has put inside you to do, like if you love to write, then man, do some of that. Like contribute what comes out of Will, because I want to hear what you have to write. And I mean, I understand you have negative situations in college and stuff like that, but
I mean that's specifically I label that as in academia.
Yeah,
that's not where I was wanting to write.
Yeah.
You see, that those classes were like, oh, here's how to write a paper for your for academia stuff. Not because there were classes that I loved, like the creative writing classes that I love those classes. One semester was mostly just all poetry, but I loved that too. It was great in the end, because when I got out of the English writing major, it was near like my last semester of my junior year. So it's like, what do I do now? Well, I already had a bunch of classes already. And so like, here's this opportunity. It's called interdisciplinary studies major. And basically is able to take like 3 different areas of study and kind of mix them together into one. So I took literary English classes that I took, all the Bible classes, because with the English writing major, it kind of required a minor. So I just tacked on the vocational ministry double major.
Yeah.
So I just used that. So English, Bible, and then also communications, because there was a lot of communications classes that you took with the English department, with the English classes as well. I took teaching English as a foreign language my last 2 semesters of college, because I didn't really need a lot of it, but I thought about being prepared, because I learned about an opportunity where I could go and teach English over in Japan. I helped out teaching at Capitol Hill Church of Christ, on a couple of nights a week, going down and teaching, kind of learning how to speak English, basically, and stuff like that, which was really interesting and really fun to kind of take something you're learning in college and actually apply it to something. But then I used that, and I went and actually did have the opportunity to go and work in Japan.
Wow.
I was there from between November 2019 to March of 2020, the end of March of 2021.
Tell me about it being in Japan.
Well, I'll say this. The first 5 months was rough. It was rough because, again, this was the first time I had ever been on my own, like living on my own, as I kind of mentioned earlier. And of course, I took it to the most extreme version of that, Oh, no, I didn't get a little studio apartment for myself here in city. No, I went to another country. But, I got there.
Did you go to Ibaraki? Where did you go?
Yes, I was actually in Ibaraki, specifically the city of Mito.
Mito.
Yeah, that's capital.
My brother and his wife did the same thing.
Awesome.
Years and years ago. But go ahead, keep going.
Fantastic. Well, I got there. I actually went because as I said, I got there in November of 2019. I was actually covering somebody else's contract because they had to leave due to medical issues. I don't know exactly, and I don't know who I replaced specifically. All I know is they couldn't fulfill it, and I had the opportunity to go a little bit earlier. So I was like, you know what? Sure, why not? Went through all the long process of technically immigrating to Japan on a work visa. I went, and then when I got there, I was set up in an apartment. And then was told, hey, you're going to get started working there, in the next couple, like the following week, roughly, when I got there. And so just got everything started. And let me tell you, that was probably the hardest point in my life, I would really say. I mean, I've been very privileged with how my, supportive and how loving my family has been, and like the environment that I've grown up in and that kind of thing. I was in a foreign country. I did not speak the language. I was having to do a lot of different things to try and, get, used to it. And it was a struggle for a long time. And this is also because this is the first time I was away from my family, away from my mom, dad, brother, sister. It was difficult. Saving grace of that situation was definitely the Church of Mito. Because that was one of the main things that I was very happy about, that there was a good congregation there who welcomed me with open arms and said, yes, come, we will, because a lot of the other people in my similar situation of being over there and working to teach English, they were also going there, which was awesome.
But then COVID hit.
And as,
how did that all play out?
Well, actually, I mean, not that big a deal, really, honestly, in how kind of because they already had like the mask thing going on, but for a very different reason. Obviously, it's like if you were sick, you wore a mask. Yeah. But then now everyone wore a mask, so it wasn't that big a deal over in Japan. As a foreigner, or as it is in Japanese, the very little Japanese that I learned, gaijin, you are not Japanese. Specifically and this is not me speaking as from what I experienced, is literally coming from my friend who I spoke with, the Japanese English teacher at one of my schools that I taught at. We talked a lot about the differences because she wanted to learn about, the differences in our culture and that kind of thing, and just kind of have a friend kind of like and talk and stuff, which is great. I loved her for it. But one of the things she mentioned was, and there's from other, people telling me, is like, basically, you are not Japanese unless you look Japanese, sound Japanese, and act Japanese. Obviously, as a 6-foot white guy from America, I was never going to fall into that category. Yeah. Quite obviously. But that's also the kind of thing, because of that, I was there as, not to try to insult myself, but a mouthpiece, so to speak. I was there to sound like a natural speaking English individual, rather than actually be teaching the classes, kind of. There were kind of some differences, specifically at the middle school level. There were English teachers there who were Japanese. They would teach the class, they were in charge, and I was there to help them. It's like I'd show a word and be like on these big cards, be like, hey, this is how you say there. One of them, or family, or blah, 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 whatever the word is. Yeah. And I'd say it for them and try to articulate it in these, I'd have to slow down. My speech when speaking English over there was much, much slower. Yeah. So that way I could enunciate every word and try to give them exaggerated lip movement so that way they could see what it was. And especially when it came time for when they did come back to school and when we started teaching. One of the things is I wore, instead of wearing the masks that everyone else was wearing, I wore a little plastic sheet thing in front of my face, so that way nothing went out, but that way they could still see me moving my mouth and everything, so that way they know, okay, this is how I'm supposed to do this for that word and that kind of thing. Granted, when that was at the middle school. At the elementary school, I was kind of in charge. I was the one speaking and actually teaching the class. And the other thing is too, since I didn't speak Japanese, I taught the class in English. I wasn't actually even allowed to speak Japanese to my kids. Right. To the kids I taught. I was only allowed to speak English because I was there to be an English speaker. When you're, visiting or even trying to make a life in another country, you got to try and, integrate to that culture. You are the guest, especially in Japan. But I couldn't fully, because I was supposed to be a representative of an English-speaking nation, of America in a sense, and I did the best I could. But because of that, not learning Japanese kind of was okay. Be a little bit more than if I was just there working in an office building or something like that. Sure. Because, but then, back to COVID, it was saw that. I saw Akihabara, which is a big anime and manga little center, or game for other gaming stuff. So that was pretty fun. It was all really cool seeing all that. But then my next favorite, which is kind of weird, is actually during the summer vacation, which in Japan, summer vacation is 1 month and teachers only get 1 week off. Oh, so lovely. Yeah, fun. But during that time, some of the other English teachers that were like me, we were called assistant English teachers, or AET. They it was like, hey, you want to hang out? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And we are able to go to see the ocean, which was awesome. So I was like, oh, cool. I've now can say that I've seen the Pacific Ocean from both sides, right? Which is awesome, because I saw it once when I was in Oregon, and then now the other side, which is pretty awesome. I actually brought back a rock. Cool. That I got off the beach, which is pretty cool. But while we were there, we went to an onsen, which is a basically a public bath amenity. But this one was more of a kind of like a spa kind of onsen kind of thing, which was pretty cool. Granted, when you first go there as a foreigner, you're like, oh, this is going to be awkward. Actually, not really. I mean, once you yourself as the foreigner get over the awkwardness of it, because of how, we kind of like the locker room kind of thing at the YMCA kind of thing, is like, it's weird. But now once you get past that, and here's the thing too, you don't just get in. Like how at your pool, like here in America, you go into shower, you get cleaned up and stuff like that. In Japan, when you go to an onsen, you get fully shower. You clean off with soap, shampoo, everything. You going because they held it in such high regard. It is such a very high, well, for them, spiritual, cultural, and just a significant thing in their culture that you do not disrespect it in any way. Even for like kids, like there are kids there, but you adults are teaching them, is like, hey, no, this is supposed to be a very centered time. This is not something to go around and just like having fun or anything like that. This is very important. So, be respectful. So when you're there, it's not awkward at all, because you're there to be, because there for respectfulness, to be cleansed in a way, and just very nice. One, because it's essentially just a hot spring. It's really nice. But, it's just being able to experience that and to have, be a part of that little cultural point is really nice, and to experience that. But of course, obviously, being very respectful of it. I made sure to be like, all right, I'm going to be as quiet as I can, be respectful of everybody else there, and just try, it was, just amazing experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's amazing, though, that you spent that time in Japan all together, and what a neat part of your life to be able to look back on and say, man, I grew quite a bit there.
Absolutely.
What do you do now for a career?
Right now, I'm currently working with Tinker Federal Credit Union. I work in their ITM department, which is or the interactive teller department. Right now, we're working to upgrade most, if not all, of our ATM machines to allow for you to be able to connect with a teller to assist you with your transactions in that kind of way. I started working with them not last year, the year before. So 2024 in roughly July. Yeah, I'd say about around July, maybe June. But yeah, around that time. And I've been enjoying it. It's very, it's not really hard work to like what one might think. It's pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of responsibility that I have to do and make sure that I always work to do the best I can. But it's been really good, and really it helps that the schedule that it gives me allows me to connect to do the things that else I want to do, like with going to church, and that was a major priority when finding this job. Is like, okay, the next job I have after other things, I wanted to make sure I can and will be able to go to church.
Why is church so important to you?
And I honestly, church has always been a part of my life. I've gone here to Memorial Road for like ever. This has been my home church for so long. And it's also because of when I was in Japan, because in retrospect, I think that if I did not have the Church of Mito available to me, I don't know how that would have affected me when coming home. Because if I didn't have that church, maybe I could have I had access to the internet. I could have listened to sermons over, from here, Memorial Road on Sundays, or it probably would have been, sometime, basically. I could have done it. But it wouldn't have been the same as being able to physically go to the church, and not just the building, the people, the community, and the environment that we have as Christians to be together. And if I didn't have that, the time there, because of how because of how much emotionally it affected me, and just, being in a foreign country without having it being a major influence to me, or around me at that time, I worry that maybe I would have moved away from in-person church and just been like, I'll just listen to a podcast, like the sermon on YouTube or a podcast or something like that. I don't have to go to a physical place. I'm fine on my own. And I fear that would have maybe had a very negative effect on my spiritual life.
I see you in class on Wednesday nights when we meet for the hub, and I love you being in there. And you lead worship sometimes, which I appreciate. What class do you go to on Sunday morning?
I go to the Dwell class on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And it's pretty nice in there, and just a lot of people there. Just kind of connect. I have thought about maybe trying some of the other classes too, though. Just as meet some new people as well, and just expand and just connect with some more people and stuff like that. I
love that. I can see in you this desire to broaden your community, and I love that. Are you in a small group right now?
Yes, I actually am in the small group. I don't think it has a name, but I meet with some people on Thursday evenings. My sister is also in that same small group, and we talk, and it's been really great having that time to just connect with some people on every night, just not even at church, but just together, and sometimes at somebody's house, sometimes at a restaurant or something like that. Just having a great opportunity just to have it a little bit closer, because sometimes in a big Bible class, it can kind of feel overwhelming. And I do really like it when we have times where we have the ability to talk while in class with somebody around us, the people around us. So that way, we can build on it and have, people with different ideas to go back and forth with, to have a conversation.
Will, thanks for being on the Young Adult World podcast today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. I hope this conversation was meaningful to you. Come find us on Instagram. Our profile is Young Adult World Podcast. Tell us what you connected with during our podcast today. This podcast is part of the Young Adult Ministry at the Memorial Road Church of Christ in Edmond, Oklahoma. Come join us sometime. There's plenty of room for everyone. If you want to reach out to us, don't hesitate to email us at youngadultworldpodcast@gmail.com. And we are so grateful for Jacob Staten. Jacob is a young adult who edits this podcast for us and keeps this thing going. So thanks, Jacob. Okay, guys, see you next time for another Young Adult World conversation.